G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of FON Supercoach. Today we will be reviewing round one. I will start with a review of all the games and then we will discuss some trades and captaincy options for round one going into round two. So for me, a score of 2,208, which I was pretty wrapped with, to be honest. Not the best score, but season rank of 6,468 based off that. Normally, I've been scoring much worse in round one and having to claw a lot of those points back throughout the season. So to start from a good base is really positive for me. If I jump into the team, there's not a heap of issues. A couple of players to correct, like Perryman and Garcia, which we will discuss when we do the match reviews. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with how the team went. And yeah, let's get into some match reviews. So the first one I've got here is Richmond v Carlton. Yeah, Richmond was obviously excellent and Carlton was quite poor. No, I don't think anyone expected this result. I can't remember a bigger upset personally in my living memory. Sorry to rub salt in the wounds, Blues fans, but I'm sure you all agree with me anyway. So yeah, it was good to see. It was good to see Richmond win. To be honest, it's been a while since I've said that. And yeah, that backflip after the Sealer goal that set me. I haven't seen something funnier on a football field in a long time. So yeah, this was a good game to watch. Just getting into the players. Before anyone even thinks about trading in Jack Ross, he had, I think, what is this? Yeah, 13% CBAs. So I'm going to jump between DFS and fan footy a little bit, just so we can see the scores and then the CBAs as well. But I wouldn't be advising Jack Ross at all, despite his monster game. 2 goals and 13% CBAs for that many disposals. It's just not going to happen very often. Nankervis, I thought this was a bit unders, to be honest. I think he had a couple of poor clangers at the end. 5 free kicks against, so yeah, that hurts. But I think if you're an owner or 114, you probably take that. Then moving down, Jaden Short. I've seen a lot of discourse around the fantasy and Supercoach communities about trading Jaden Short. There is no issue with Jaden Short at the moment. This score is going to be below what he averages. You've got to remember that the ball wasn't in his half of the ground for a lot of the second half and a lot of the last quarter in particular. He did also cop some attention from Matt Cottrell in the third quarter, which was dropped when Carlton started losing the game. So go figure. I don't think that had anything to do with Carlton losing the game, dropping that attention, but just worth noting. Jaden Short, if Jaden Short averages 83, he is not going to lose money from his starting price. So he's not a must trade. He doesn't need to be corrected. We hold and we deal with other problems first, such as underperforming rookies or mid-prices that no longer have the role, which there are a couple about in my team that I will discuss going forward. Sam Laidlaw, or Lawler, I think it is. I think he's just been named the rising star for round one. So yeah, he was terrific. 2 goals, everything he touched turned to gold. I think Supercoach wise, probably wouldn't be trading into him. I think there's far better options. And I think this seems like almost one of the better games that he'll play, getting no CBAs and kicking 2 goals. So I think he's going to struggle to score this every week, which is what he would have to score to make money. So Lawler's a no for me, but definitely a good game. And if you had, you'd be very happy with this performance. I've seen a little bit of Camden McIntosh. He's got a lot of CBAs, but not doing a whole lot with them. And then Lynch, 61. Probably a good result considering what some were expecting going into this game if you have Lynch. But also, I think he's been given a 1-match ban, I think. So Richmond are going to challenge it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't see Lynch scoring much more than this very often. There's not many good-looking matchups for Richmond on the horizon. So yeah, not sure about this pick. And then Trainer, I thought this was massive unders, this 50. Thought he was a fair bit better. Did have the 6 clangers, but had some massive decisions late in game that were a positive impact on the team and attributed to the Tigers winning. So yeah, he was excellent. He must have really good job security based on this. And I think he's an on-field option. In defence, that is. Any other line, I wouldn't be going there. But in defence, the cupboards are bare. So you got to take what you get. Then Harry Armstrong, he was all right. But key forward, young key forward in a struggling side. I don't have a lot of interest in that. And then there was some talk about selecting Jacob Blight at the start of the season. Wouldn't be too... Like, he played well, but yeah, obviously the 36 and the injury. I think he'll play next week, but yeah, wouldn't advise... I'd be getting out of this pick pretty quickly if I could. Then onto the Blues. DeConning went as expected. This bloke just scores Supercoach points as easily as anyone from every avenue. So yeah, if you didn't have DeConning, I'd be looking at working him into your side. I think if Pittenet's not out, he is R1 easily, I want to say, this year. Easily. And then Cripps, if you had Cripps, you would have been pretty happy with that. Probably expected a little bit more of a fill-up, but here we are. Adam Chera was excellent in the first half and then went missing in the second half. So I think there was less CBAs in the second half, which is a little bit concerning. I also think that once Doherty was subbed into the game, he was moved behind the ball, which is also not what we want to see. I'm wondering if that was to try and have a little bit of composure behind the ball, because Carlton's whole defence outside of Wiedering was pretty poor with ball in hand. There was a lot of errors, a lot of fumbles, poor kicks, poor handballs, just basic, simple skill errors. So I'm wondering if they moved him behind the ball to try and shore that up, but I'm not sure. Probably wanted a little bit more of a cash-in from Chera in this game, but it's not the end of the world. Silvani, probably not really Supercoach relevant, but he was really good on either side of the ball, so that was good for him. And then, yeah, Walsh, very limited CBAs, wouldn't be going there. Even in upgrade season, wouldn't be going anywhere near Walsh. He looks like he's lost a lot of power and speed, so yeah, it's pretty hard to justify Sam Walsh, I think, this season. And then Doherty, don't know why he was the sub, but would expect him to not be the sub next week, which could be a problem for Lucas Camporiali, who I thought he played all right, but he did have some really bad, like, fumbly errors and, like, poor skill errors that cost the Blues 1 or 2 goals, particularly one late. So, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about the job security, but hoping he gets another chance. It seems that he's ahead of Cooper Lord, who I thought was really impressive as well before he got subbed out. Not sure why Voss decided to sub Cooper Lord out, but he did. But yeah, hoping Camporelli gets another game, but if not, there's plenty of options to go to. All right, let's move on to Hawthorn v Essendon. I was at this game, so my analysis of it isn't probably going to be as good as if it was... as if I was watching from home. I find it much easier to read the play from the couch rather than in the stands for some reason. I do sit level 1, which probably contributes to that. I think if you sit like level 4 behind the goals, you've got a really good viewing point to make decisions. But yeah, I don't know. I prefer sitting level 1, so that's where I was. Amon was really good, but wouldn't go there. Sicily was awesome. This has been really painful because I could have had him this week. Probably was never going to go forward this week, given Essendon's probably not a difficult matchup, I would have thought. But yeah, he was really good, 109. Did have a lot of ball and didn't score a lot. So I'm wondering if part of that was due to the 3,300 rule, where there's only 3,300 Supercoach points in each match. And I know Essendon last year were... They scored really strongly, and it looks like Hawthorn is going to do the same this year, which means that when they play each other, both teams score less well than they normally would, because, you know, you look at this, you've got 91 disposal efficiency, only the one clanger, heaps of marks, I think a couple of contested intercepts as well. So, yeah, I'm wondering if that'll impact these teams going forward. But anyway, just food for thought that. Then Dylan Moore was good, but I don't think anyone has him. Battle and Mackenzie, I think... Sorry, not Battle. Ward and Mackenzie are too expensive, I think, to consider. So just thought it was worth mentioning those. Lloyd Meek, you'd be pretty pissed off with this performance, to be honest. Like, heaps of clangers, 36 disposal efficiency. Like, it's not great. Essendon's a tough matchup for rucks, but I think this is... I think this is just part of owning Lloyd Meek. Like... He's just going to have games where he can't mix it up with the best rucks because he doesn't have those like ceiling scoring avenues like a Gawn or a De Koning or a Cherry or even an English or something like that. So yeah, I've never loved this pick, and that was this is one of the reasons why this sort of performance. And then Will Day got tagged. Oh, seeing that opening centre bounce with Durham and Redmond in it, I was like, oh, Sardis is in trouble. But Durham going to Day, I guess he's been used as a tagger before, so it's not really surprising. And Day does struggle with tags. It's pretty bad if you're a Will Day owner, because he's got this tag. Next week against Carlton have typically been a difficult matchup for midfielders to score in. So it's a bad matchup. And then he's got the Toby Bedford tag and then the bye. So I think Day, if you didn't have Smith, I think you could justify jumping off Day, which might sound crazy to some people, but I think he's actually going to lose money before he makes it. So that's my opinion on Will Day. Not many relevant players for Hawthorn in Supercoach. I will say, I think the Scrimshaw injury doesn't actually affect Sicily. I presume that Frost just comes into the 22 and it'll be next man up as a sub, which could still mean Sicily goes forward. Like, I think all of Amon, Sicily, Battle, Barras, Hardwick, Frost, Morrison, Impey, like they can all play defence. They've got heaps of guys, Weddle. They can all go through the back line. So I still think they'll use Sicily as a little bit of a swingman until Deer or Lewis comes back. But once they do come back, I'm jumping on Sicily so quickly. He's just going to have such a big year, I can tell. And then the Bombers, I don't know if anyone had Caldwell, but he was excellent. 10 clearances, 17 contested, 11 tackles, 18 handballs, 18 kicks. Like, just did it all. He was fantastic. Draper, who we're going to get as a forward, was really good. I'm wondering how stacked our forward line's going to be at this point, because we're going to get Warner, who we'll speak about later as well, and we're going to get Rowan Marshall. So, and we're also going to get Draper. So there's 3 guys who can probably go 95 plus as well. So it makes Caleb Daniel interesting, who had a quieter game this week, but just one to think about when planning your end of season team, I think. Merritt, not a lot of contested, so a poor score. Nick Martin, poor disposal efficiency and lots of outside stuff, so a poor score. Also, I don't think Redmond is going to be in the centre bounces anymore. He was just he was so bad in there. It was just like, I don't know. I don't know what Brad Scott was doing. It's just so frustrating with these teams that they do one thing all preseason, and then round 1 comes and they just change it completely. So that was really frustrating. Obviously, Redmond in the middle, I think that affected Sartis, who had 57 TOG as well, which is a little bit concerning. Sartis can't kick, and he doesn't tackle. So I don't know what we're going to do with this pick. I think I'm going to trade him out this week, but if not this week, it'll probably be the week after. I'm going cold on this pick pretty quick. It is worth mentioning he didn't actually score in the first quarter, and with normal TOG, he would have a good score. So he's probably worth holding another week, but there are a couple of good rookies that I don't have, and I'm just wondering if I prioritise them over Sardis, even with a trade. Kako was really good. I think Kako is probably a little bit better than I anticipated. He gets up the ground, he's a good user, hits the scoreboard, gets involved in scores. So yeah, really like Kako. And if you didn't have him, he's an option to consider over the next few weeks when we're correcting rookies. I should probably talk about Reid and Pryor. Boy, Pryor, I am very concerned about his job security. He made Finn McGuinness look like Wayne Carey in the last quarter, which is very impressive considering Finn McGuinness's only football skill is his ability to run. So, yeah, that was a tough watch. I kept looking over at these Finn McGuinness contested marks, and I was like, please not Pryor, please not Pryor. It's Pryor, so yeah, that's a little bit of a worry. And then Reid had some clangers early that killed his scoring a little bit. Think he'll be okay. His job security is good. He averages 55. He easily makes enough money for us. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with Reid. And then if you've got Ridley, that is unlucky, but you got a trade, and there's heaps of options, fortunately. So, you can take your pick of the bunch. All right, Geelong v Freo. So, I guess we'll start with the Cats. If you didn't have Bailey Smith, you're probably feeling pretty silly right now. Obviously, it's very easy to be a hindsight operator, but yeah, Bailey Smith was, as expected, very good. I think a few jumped off before the bounce because he had strapping on his knee. That's I've seen the Supercoach community do that before, and it rarely works out. So yeah, Bailey Smith was excellent. If you didn't have him, I would be going there this week. If you have an avenue, at the absolute latest next week, because he's going to make an absolute squillion of cash next week. So yeah, and then Max Holmes, he was terrific. Won't kick 2 goals every week, but had more CBAs than he did in the preseason, so that was interesting. I think obviously he's a good player, so yeah, well done if you picked him. Sam de Koning. So I went there at the last minute before the lockout started, and I was pretty impressed. Probably would have liked a little bit more of a fill up, given he was on Reedy. But kicked a nice goal, got a bunch of frees, which, they're a bit lucky. And then gets involved in the junk in the back line, which is the main one. So even if he's struggling in the ruck, he can just drop back and get some chip mark, which is good for his scoring. It's not massive scoring, but it helps bulk it out. And he's pretty good once the ball hits the ground once the ball hits the ground. So gets involved in the chains, got a handball receive at one point. So yeah, he's pretty good. So the way that Geelong is using him, they're using him in the centre bounce ruck contest, and then he's dropping back behind the ball. So that's how he gets involved in the D50 junk, if you like it, where they're switching the ball and transitioning to the other side of the ground. But it's good for his scoring. It's sort of reminiscent a little bit of Tim English when he was going 130. Obviously, not the same level of scoring power here for de Koning, but it was good to see for 360k. He's got a good matchup next week with no Ryan Marshall and the Saints, but I'm not sure I would advise trading him in. He's got a few very tough matchups afterwards, and I am a little bit worried about his ability to score. Like, he realistically needs to score 85 to be serviceable throughout those weeks, and I think that's going to be a struggle. So yeah, I'm not sure if I would advise trading Sam de Koning in, but I would probably listen to more than one opinion on that one. That's a big talking point for this week, I think. Tom Stewart. So I was very concerned he was going to get concussed in the first quarter, but he came back on and still knocked out a ton, which was awesome to see. He had like a knock on the top of the head, which hurt his neck, I think. So he was getting a bit of massaging on the neck on the bench. So was really thankful when he came back onto the ground and had a nice little, I think he had 3 possessions right on the end of the game, transitioning the ball from defense to attack, and then a score assist. So that was awesome. Brought up the ton there, even when the game was already over. So yeah, that was terrific. Nevitt. If you don't have Mitch Nevitt, get him in. An 82 on 68 TOG is unbelievable. So yeah, he was good. Got involved in everything. Tackles heaps. Good contested rate. Decent enough user. Like 66% isn't great, but only the 3 clangers. So yeah, we take that. And yeah, he was really good. And Connor O'Sullivan, I think he'll score right next week, but once Colin Jasney's back, he's going to be out of the side. So wouldn't advise Connor O'Sullivan. And then for the Dockers, Clark was really good. Started like a house on fire. Had 11 disposals in the first quarter, I think, for 47 Supercoach points. Yeah, he was really good. If you started, you'd be very happy with that. And then we get to Sarong and Brayshaw. All preseason, I said that if a team was going to tag, they would go to Sarong. And in round 1, I was wrong. It only took 1 round, but here we are. So, but my issue with this is the response from Longmuir was to send Sarong to the forward line when Brayshaw was getting the hard tag. Like, Sarong was getting a little bit of attention at stoppages from Atkins, but that was it. And it just seemed like a strange move to make, to send one of the premier midfielders in the comp to the forward line to where he can't impact the play. Like, coaches who do this when your team is getting spanked, it doesn't make sense. You need your best players around the ball to try and win the game. So yeah, I was surprised about the Sarong move to the forward line. And I think that made the tag on Brayshaw much easier because Sarong couldn't impact the game. So why would you bother tagging him? So that was frustrating, but it was good to see Brayshaw knock out a 101 despite the tag. So yeah, I think Brayshaw's in for a big year. So having this round 1 score, I'm okay with that. It is frustrating when Dunkley, who was at a similar price, put up a 170, but that's the game sometimes. Jackson was good, but his role's not even good enough without Shrek to consider, in my opinion, so wouldn't be going there. Nathan O'Driscoll, this is a must-have rookie. If you don't have him, please get him in. His role is going to be really good until Hayden Young comes back, and then it's going to go more to a wing role, but he's going to generate cash really quickly, and he's going to be an on-field option even when he is full-time wing. So, yeah, he was terrific. It was wrapped with him. Luke Ryan. I will admit I enjoyed watching Luke Ryan not score well a little bit. I didn't own Luke Ryan at all last season when he was going gangbusters, so it is very selfish to be enjoying this poor score, but I think if you picked Luke Ryan expecting the same thing as last year, you were setting yourself up for failure, so I'd be jumping off this pick ASAP. There's plenty of good options in defence that are cheaper than Luke Ryan, and you can use the extra cash elsewhere as well, so yeah, I would be jumping off this pick ASAP. Murphy Reid kicked 4 goals in 6 minutes, which was awesome to see. Every goal was impressive and very watchable as well, so that was really fun to watch. Supercoach wise, kicks 4 goals and still only gets to a 50. Did give away a 50-metre penalty, so that's why his score is so low. But yeah, the role is really bad. And I think once Young comes back, he might be the one to make way for him. So yeah, I'm not overly interested in Murphy Reid. Anyone else here? Reedy, 34. Kwame Brown. And yeah, that's it. Sydney v Brisbane. So let's start with the Swans. So Nick Blakey. I think he's a sneaky option. I don't think you can trade into him before his bye, but I think he is a sneaky option. He gets every kick in. He's an interceptor, and he seems to be the preferred ball user out of defence. So, yeah, I think you could go to Blakey after his bye. He's going to have a price rise between now and then, obviously, so it's a little bit awkward. But, yeah, Blakey was really good. Matt Roberts, mild concern for this pick. He would have gone over 100, but in the dying stages of the game, he took a kick in and just kicked it straight down Dunkley's throat, who then responded by taking the lead with a goal. So that was pretty tough to watch. I think the worst part about that was there was about 3 or 4 minutes left and he just got banished to the bench straight away then, despite being a very high tog player that Cox seems to like to keep on the ground. So that was concerning. I think he'll be okay, but I'm worried about his kick-in responsibilities going forward, even if they were already low. It is worth noting that McInerney's been offered 3 weeks, but the Swans have accepted, which I was surprised about, but I won't digress into that discussion. And Roberts scored very well without McInerney last year, so yeah, maybe that's good for Matt Roberts. Chad Warner played the whole game forward. We're going to get this guy forward as a forward at some point, and he's not going to play forward the whole season, so I would be having him in your end of season plans. He's obviously a terrific player. Then Joel Hamling is a 160k forward rookie who's playing in defence for the Swans. Definitely an option, but you'd want another look, and you'd also want to only trade him in after his bye. So yeah, he looked okay. He was serviceable. I think they needed him back there. It is worth noting that McCartan did get swung back late in the game, so I don't know if they persist with Hamling, but I don't know. Looked okay in this game, so yeah. And then Riley Bice only played the last quarter, I think. Looks like a little bit more than the last quarter, actually. But yeah, he was terrific when he came on. So I'm hoping we get him as a rookie because he can score. Like, he's gone to 52 in 31 TOG. So that's more than any of our other defender rookies have gone. So I'm kind of really hoping for this. I'm also concerned about Pryor because I think he's going to get dropped. So this presenting itself as a bailout option would be massive. Absolutely massive. And then Hanley, small forward, don't think you can pick. Then Brisbane, Josh Dunkley. If you pick this, well done. If you put the captain on him, even better. That was terrific. Did absolutely everything as Dunkley does. Dane Zorko. So when you fade this Zorko pick, he has the best role in footy and he plays it the best in footy. So every week that Zorko doesn't hurt you is a win. And at halftime, Dane Zorko had 40 points. And I was looking at that and I was like, this is great. He's not going to hurt me. I'm going to escape a week without Dane Zorko putting me to the sword before he goes West Coast, then Richmond pretty much in the next 3 games. So I was stoked with that at halftime. And then he smashed out 100 points in the second half, including 2 goals when he got swung forward for a little bit. Don't know what was happening there, but it did happen. And then he got swung back and he kept scoring well. So yeah, this is a very hard watch when you don't own Dane Zorko. So yeah, that was rough. But I mean, a 36-year-old with soft tissue history, it makes sense to bet against this. So willing to let him go. I let Luke Ryan go all of last year when he was going berserk, so I can sit through Dane Zorko. Levi Ashcroft, I am bringing him in this week. I think he has West Coast next week. He doesn't need CBAs. He scores wherever he goes. He demands the ball. He came on the ground straight away. He was screaming for the ball, had the hands out, give me the thing, which is what we love to see, a little pig in the making. So yeah, he was terrific. Great player. Then his brother Will, 73. The roll just isn't good. You can't jump off this before West Coast, which makes this very awkward. Do you jump off the week after? He goes West Coast, Geelong, Richmond. Now he's not going to get attention from Geelong. That's going to go to Neil. So maybe he can score well enough over the next few games to counteract this. This score is only in his price cycle for 1 week, essentially. So, yeah, probably wouldn't be getting off this pick yet. But if you needed a way to get in Bailey Smith, this is where I'd be going. Or if you had cash to get him up to like an Isaac Rankin, that's what I would be doing from Will Ashcroft. And then Lockie Neal. Yeah, I don't know. Neal still can't deal with tags. So, yeah, this... I wasn't really surprised at this. I don't know how you could have picked Neal with this matchup round 1, but if you've got Neal, keep him. He's going to be the best captain option this week against West Coast, so you're going to get a lot of your points back. So I wouldn't be concerned, and I would just hold. And then Lohman injury, worth noting for Ashcroft, because it appears Ashcroft is the 23rd player in this side. So I think you'll hold for a little bit. I think Ashcroft's going to be a quick cash and then just abort as soon as his break-even gets close to unmanageable, because he's going to get relegated to the sub at some point. So, yeah. All right, Western Bulldogs v North. I wasn't fully focused watching this game, so if I say something wrong, please feel free to correct me in the comments below. Bailey Dale was terrific. I think I'm going to go here over Perryman after next week. That's what I'm planning at this stage. We'll talk about that later. Just has a really good role. I also think that Bramble may get banished to the 2s once Bont and Treloar come back. Obviously, they don't play the same position, but it means Fraser will be back behind the ball a little bit more. So I'm not sure. That may not eventuate, but that's my thinking. So Libba and Richards did exactly what you would expect against North. Went really well. I don't know how many have Richards because of his calf sort of niggle in the preseason, but yeah, he would have been wrapped with that score. Matt Kennedy going to score really well until Bont and Treloar are back. Zero Clangers just, scores really well. One I flagged early in the preseason, but think his role for the whole season won't be good enough to justify. And then Joel Fraser, 109. So apparently he was on, 20 or 30 at halftime. So that indicates he was playing half back and then got moved into the midfield in the second half. That indicates that this is not a good pick. But he's got a 109. He's 370k. He's clearly talented. I don't know. I can't get a read on this pick. I can't go there myself. I can't go on a pick that I don't have a read on. But yeah, he was really good. And then Sanders, poor. So it's a tough one because he just can't score. I don't know what it is. I think he needs like the Liberatore role. I think, like McRae, I think he's similar to McRae, needs to be the in and under guy on the bottom of the packs, which that's what Libba does. So it's not an opportunity for Sanders to score some points. Would I trade if I had? Again, if you don't have Baz and you can get the money to get Bailey Smith, that's what I'd be doing. Or Rankin if you can get the money for that. But yeah, you can hold another week and then downgrade to a rookie worst case and use the cash elsewhere next week. So it's not the end of the world. And Tim English, boy, I was expecting a poor score this week from Tim, but not this poor. 58, wow. Yeah, this is why I can't own Tim English. Just too many stinkers. It's just too tough. And then Davidson was disappointing, but I think he'll bounce back. Dolan no one would have. And then Cleary got KO'd. Hope he's okay. But yeah, another defender rookie option dropping. So if you had Cleary, I might even just risk going Bice, to be honest. But O'Donnell and Cleary going down means I think we'll get Busslinger next week. I wouldn't go on Busslinger until he's on the bubble because his job security is quite poor, but just flagging that's going to happen this week. And then for North, I think Cherry and Gawn, 5 metres gained. Wow. I guess a fair bit of backwards handballing for a ruck. Cherry and Gawn did not hurt non-owners this week. Despite the big scores, if you didn't own them, like if you're a Flynn R2, it was a massive win for you this week. So, because this is a big matchup. Like Cherry and Gawn both probably should have gone 150 on these matchups. So if you don't own, you'd be thrilled. I don't own Cherry, so I'm happy, but I do own Gawn. So, Simpkin, no CBAs for this score. So I think he'll have good scores at times, but I wouldn't be advising going there. Sheasel, it's a tough role to score in. He plays well, obviously, but yeah, it's a tough role to score in. I think he did also kick 2 points, so normally you kick one of these goals and all of a sudden you're getting a 115, 120, so maybe I'm let off the hook there a little bit. There was some vision of Sheasel being very poor defensively, so I don't know if that affects his mid-time or not, but I think Sheasel needs to lead from the front. The way North is going to get better is to buy in defensively and chase. And Sheasel not doing that when he's one of the leaders is a little bit concerning, even though he is young. But anyway, that's probably irrelevant. Just me waffling. So, and then Luke Davies-Uniacke, disinterested, just cruising around the ground. Very similar to Tim English, just a really frustrating own. So unfortunate if you had LDU, but I think he'll bounce back. Got anyone else here? Oh, Constanti? Yeah, Constanti was good. 74 for a small forward. That's a massive output. So watch him next week. I don't even know if he goes big next week if I'd be interested, but he's done all right with a poor role. Robert Hansen Jr. is 170k. I'm not really sure what this role is. Rotating forward. So it's like wing half forward. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably not a good role either. Then Parker, no CBAs. McKercher, wing. Foss. I don't really know what Foss's role was. I was trying to work it out from the heat map. I didn't take much note of him. I think it's like wing and half back still, so it's not a great role. He's not an accumulator as a junior, so I'm a little bit sort of kicking myself for taking this pick over Ashcroft. Like it seems so boneheaded on reflections. So yeah, I'm probably going to hold, but he's definitely one on the shopping block next week for me. Logue's going to miss at least 2 to 4 weeks, I think. So if you have him, I'd be moving him on. Yeah. Collingwood v Port Adelaide. This was an absolute shellacking. I only watched 3/4 of this, so I don't have any. My knowledge of this game isn't as good as the other games, but Dan Houston with no kick-ins. I don't think he had kick-ins anyway. 130. That is a very scary proposition, and he will be one I'll be looking. He's one I will be looking to get in at some point for sure. And then Ned Long. He's 200k. With a 113 in his system, he's going to score very well. But De Goey does come back next week, which I think makes him a sub-risk from here on out. So I don't think you can go there. If your only problem was like a Finn O'Sullivan or a Sardis, I think you could do it to make it like a quick cash play if you really wanted to. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not doing Ned Long. I don't think. Then Nick Dacos through the Willem Drew tag, 98. Pretty good. Going to drop some cash for non-owners, so we like to see that. Oh my God, Perryman. Dude, this role is so bad. Also, like, lowish Tog. Yeah. It's a disaster. As I was saying with Essendon, it's frustrating when the role gets changed in round one instead of, well, I guess this was round one, second game, but yeah, that was frustrating. Plays a bit of wing, plays a bit of defence, and then just does defensive stuff at stoppages. Like, yeah, it's not good. I think he has to go. I think not this week, but he has to go the week after, definitely. Then on the power side, Rosie, pretty much the only one that tried, Rosie and Boak. So if you had Rosie, you would have been pretty happy with that. I think he got a bit of side bottom attention early as well. Yeah, I don't know, not much to say. He was very good, obviously, with a 130, so it's terrific. Finlayson, this might be the worst defender I've ever seen. So, like, if I'm the coach, I'm dropping Finlayson. This was his effort defensively was appalling. Like, you can't be having that rolling around in your back line. And I think Asava's fit this week, so yeah, you wouldn't trade into Finlayson. You're probably not trading out of him yet, but definitely keep an eye on that at team sheets. And then Horn Francis was getting like some defensive work from Perryman. No, I'm not. It's not a tag, but yeah, he's not going to score well in a shellacking. So he's all right. He's a captain option next week. So we'll see where we go with there. Then Bergman, he has all the attributes to be a good Supercoach pick, but Port just don't use him right for it. So yeah, if you had him, that's probably pretty frustrating, but it is what it is. And then Sin, see how Sin goes this week if you've got him, but I'd be ready to offload him. Joe Berry's never going to score well in a shellacking, so wouldn't be worried about this. And then we've got Spud of the Week, Sam Powell Pepper with the crab emote. Yeah, as I said, I watched the 3/4 of this today. Oh, sorry, no, Sunday. And it started off pretty well. He got 2 marks and 2 kicks. I was like, how's he score that? How's he score so poorly from here? And he was unsighted pretty much the rest of the game, so that was frustrating. I'm going to give him another week because he's got Richmond at home, but I'm ready to pull the trigger on him if he's no good. So, yeah, that's Port v Collingwood, St Kilda v Adelaide. This was a tough watch. Isaac Rankin dominating, getting let do whatever he pleases. 16 contested, 7 clearances, 5 tackles, 2 goals. Like, just dominating. Probably unders, honestly, on that score. And then Dawson getting absolutely clamped for half the game. Just so frustrating. So, yeah, that was hard to watch. Rankin's going to be the hardest antipod I have for the whole season. I'm going to get him at some point, obviously, but I don't know if I will be able to cheaply anymore. So that's a little bit scary. Hoping that he gets... Who do they play this week? Essendon. Hoping he gets the Durham attention and not Dawson again. So that'd be good. Yeah, Dawson, as I said, got tagged for half the game. I think this ratio is a little bit unfair as well, but a few of the forwards were running under his kicks. I don't know, he did some things that looked really good. Obviously, 3 frees against hurts. Like, that turns this into a 110 and then you're laughing through a tag. But they were also stupid frees against. Like, they were all off ball, just like snipes. Come on, man. I'm not interested in that. I need the points. We don't need to see that. And like, Laird was okay if you have him for whatever reason. Thilthorpe was good. Isaac Cummings, 79. Kicked 2 goals. Probably never going to do that again. Wayne Miller was no good, just didn't find the footy. Peatling, if you had this, you'd probably be jumping off. Just not enough CBAs, and you can't score on the outside, so yeah, no good. And then Draper was good when he came on, but going to be too much of a sub risk, and Curtin was pretty much invisible. So I don't even know where Curtin was playing, to be honest. The Saints, McRae back to his best, 127. Maybe he is back to his best. Oh no, that was like 23 contested, 12 clearances. Those are bananas numbers. So, yeah, he was terrific. Nas was really good. Had a couple of stinker clangers, which is why this score is worse than it should be. But he also cramped a fair bit. I think normally his tog would be a bit higher. And then Sinclair was fine. Would want a bit more if you owned. Excuse me. Jack Steele, an 80. Gee, that's average. Very average. So, yeah, you wouldn't have been happy with that if you're a Jack Steele owner. I don't know. He just looked slow. It was very strange. Then Wintager, Dawson brought him into the game. And then we've got Max Hall. I think this is close to a must-have rookie. Had all of the Saints scores at one point. Gets up the ground, and gets involved in scores. Looks really good. Has good tog as well, which is a massive thing for these rookie price players. So yeah, he was terrific. Boyd started poorly, but worked himself into the game. So that was good to see. Gets a soft matchup with De Koning this week. I know I've called both sides of that matchup soft, but I can't imagine it'll be hard to score against De Koning as a ruck. I should mention Schoenmaker. I don't know, didn't see him all preseason, then played. Didn't do much, not much to say there. Hugo Garcia. So the role from him was gone. That was evident that was gone very quickly. Probably should have seen this one coming. The tog in the practice match was very low, which is generally a bad sign if you're not even getting a run around in the preseason. So, yeah, maybe this was just a bad error on me, but using his money, we will be able to find a good use for his money. So I'm not overly worried about this. And then Hasty was stiff to be subbed, I thought. Thought he was really good. I was actually planning in my head to trade him in this week for Garcia, but I don't know why he got subbed. Like, surely you leave your young players that are playing well on the field in a loss. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And then O'Connell probably not going to be a good enough Supercoach scorer. So yeah, I think you've got to trade Hugo Garcia if you have him. Just get a rookie and then use the cash either this week or next. But yeah, he was quite poor. Then Melbourne v GWS. Oh my God, man. Just as a Melbourne supporter, losing this way again, very frustrating. It's not the worst loss in the world, but it sort of triggers the memory on the last two finals campaigns, losing, I think, every single game that way, which was very frustrating. I don't know how you transition the ball from a kick in that easily, on a wet day, but I don't know. I watched that passage again a couple of hours ago, and the Giants were so clean with their ball handling skills at that time. So yeah, kudos to the Giants. They played really well. Max Gawn needed a bigger cash in than that. Had a disaster of a last quarter, to be honest. Missed a goal from pretty much straight in front, and then had an attempt at the game winner from 65 in the wet. Like, I think that's just got to be a pass or a handball to someone else, Max. Let someone else have a go there. All the Melbourne defenders scored well because they're playing the chip mark Fremantle style from last year. I sort of hope that doesn't persist as a fan. It's not even that good for Supercoach. None of these players are cheap enough to pick. So, yeah, I don't know. And then Petrarca, he was back, got attention from Bedford, as did all of my midfielders. So that was fantastic. But yeah, he was back, 2 goals, hit the scoreboard, did everything well. Had a couple of horror handballs, which is why this disposal efficiency is low. But as we know with Petrarca, he puts up serviceable scores against good teams and very good scores against bad teams. He's got North this week. There's going to be heaps of score involvements. He's going to score well. Clayton Oliver, he was fine. I don't know. 4 free kicks against, he's not going to do that every week. That turns that into a 105. You're not worried about that. Lindsay was excellent on the wing. I wonder if he's going to be an MCG merchant. I don't know if anyone remembers Chandler from a few years ago, but he was an MCG merchant. So yeah, big wings for Lindsay. Look like they're going to be good for him. So yeah, field him in all MCG games at least, I would say. But we'll get another good look at him this week. I think he's one that I'm going to go early on. So definitely an option there. Then Johnson. I think Johnson's got good job security. I think he might get a week for a dangerous tackle, unfortunately. But yeah, 4 frees against and still put out a 60. He's going to be playing that second ruck, third tall role, which has generally been okay for scoring. So yeah, I think this is an option in our forward lines, which is good. Henderson played high half forward type role. He was actually really good when the ball was in his area. It's probably not really a great role for scoring, but at 99k, it's pretty good. So yeah, you don't have to do much to make money at 99k. So yeah, if you've got him, you would have been wrapped with that. Jefferson, don't think he'll play once Turner is fit. And then Langford was a strange choice for the sub. Looked quite slow when he came on, which is not what you want from a sub, particularly when you're trying to run out a close game. But he's a talent. He's a talent. So yeah, he'll be good in the long run. Then Whitfield, I didn't realise he went this well, but yeah, I think halfbacks tend to carve us up as well, like the prolific ball-using halfbacks. He was really good, heavily involved in that last chain as well. I think he had the kick in on the first transition goal and then a couple of possessions on the second one, but yeah, he was terrific. Toby Green, well, he had 98 TOG, far out. That's impressive. Yeah, he was really good. I don't know if he's a forward option. I actually don't even know how expensive he is. 426. No, you couldn't do that. Yeah, I don't know. He was very good. Tom Green was a shocker in the first half, but came good in the second half. Still think Tom Green's going to be a top 8 mid. It's just a matter of when you get him. And then Finn Callahan, 104. He doesn't tackle. He's like Sardis, but he can kick. He doesn't tackle, and he gets a lot of uncontested ball, which hurts his Supercoach scoring. Obviously, he's a terrific player. I'm not doubting that. He was actually really good to watch. So, yeah, he was quite impressive. Another 31 touches for him, but mostly outside, which hurts his scoring. But I think if I'm ordering those like Chera, Day, Ashcroft, and Callahan picks, I'm going Chera, Callahan, Ashcroft, Day at this point. So, yeah, he was really good. And that's with the buy as well. I still have him over Ashcroft. Keith wouldn't go there. He's not going to kick the winner every week. Yes, I'm still upset about that. We got Connor Stone. Just doesn't get enough footy, I think, which is a shame. I don't have a loop this week. I was sort of half hoping he went well so I could trade into him, but yeah, that's a little bit concerning. And then Leak, you would imagine he's gone once Stringer comes back. Just the role's no good anyway. So I think if you've got Leak, this is the problem. Like if you have 4 defenders, you're sort of banking on Bice being an option because there's really only 3 options at the moment. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough. Then we got West Coast versus Gold Coast. I will run through this quickly. Worth noting that West Coast is going to be the easiest midfield to score on for at least the first half of the season. Tim Kelly's not interested. Hope he's okay. Harley Reid's unfit. And then like the rest of them they're just not at the level yet. So yeah, Baker or Graham could be options in our forward line. Not sure. I think we're going to have enough premium type options in the forward line that we don't need these. Matt Flynn, no idea how this was an 87, but as an owner, I take that. 87 against Wits in an absolute belting in the ruck, by the way, 13 hitouts to 68. Like, that's a spanking. So, yeah, that was good to see for Flynn. Hutchinson, too much outside. Hewitt was good. He didn't score in the first quarter, but then, 52 points after that was pretty good. I think they have to give him a go. So, yeah, happy to hold him. He doesn't need to do much to make money. So, that is pretty good. Archer Reid just doesn't score well enough, I think, to be the R3 type. Marriage was good when he came on. Dewar, too many clangers. But was taking some kick-ins. So, worth to note. And then the Suns, I mean, Witts, Rowell, Anderson and Miller were always going to beat up in this game. So, if you had them, you would have been wrapped with that. If you had Anderson, I hope you put the C on him. This was a pretty obvious safe C, I think. Humphrey went bang, but as I said, these guys were always going to beat up on the Eagles midfield, so it's not really surprising. And then Reid has the 100 in his cycle. He's played 1 game. He's going to go onto the bye, and then we get another look next week. If Powell Pepper scores well enough to keep this week, and then well enough to make a little bit of money next week, but not well enough to keep, you can move him off to Reid coming off the bubble. And Reid might be able to give you 150k if he puts up another good score in these next round. Like, Gold Coast have really soft matchups early, so this key forward second ruck type is a pretty good option. And he looked good in the air. Took a lot of good marks. Yeah, no one else relevant here. So, alrighty, let's talk trades. So, I think for me, Garcia and Perryman have to go. But I'm not too concerned about moving Perryman on this week. Break even of 77 is very achievable. And I think he's going to get some options to score this week against the Dogs. If he doesn't lose too much money, I can still get to Dale. I think I would be able to get to Sicily as well, but don't want to trade into Sicily before his bye. But I am going to hold Perryman this week and instead adjust some rookies. So the first one is I know I need Levi Ashcroft, so that's an easy one. Now the next one, I don't know who to trade out of Foss and Sardis. I think Sardis has more chance to make money, but I think Foss's job security is better. So I am leaning towards Sardis. And I think Xavier Lindsay is the other option. So my other options are I go down to Lindsay and up to Dale. Now, if Ashcroft wasn't playing against West Coast, I would do that because that's probably going to be more points on field, upgrading this position rather than a position that might drop off anyway. Like if I'm looking at this, it's best 18, so we've got 23 here, so 5 scores are going to drop off. I'm probably expecting this one to drop off, this one to drop off, this one to drop off, and a couple of the mid-rookies. So, yeah, I think Ashcroft is going to be the best scoring mid-rookie this week, but these rookies look like they're going to make bulk cash, so I just want to get them in early. I can use additional cash from correcting another rookie next week, which will either be Powell-Pepper or O'Sullivan to get Perryman up to someone that I like. I can also, if Sullivan and Powell-Pepper both fire, I can still get Perryman up to Dale in one trade, which would be ideal. But, yeah, we'll see. Foss might be able to score against Melbourne. He scored okay against us in the first Pracky, I want to say. Didn't get a lot of the ball, though. Like, was playing full wing time at that point. So, yeah, that's the team. I wouldn't advise trading into Koning this week. I still think this pick smells bad. I'm not trying to gatekeep it, but I do still think the pick smells bad. And then it's worth pointing out for structure, I think having Gawn here instead of an Isaac Rankin and someone else in defence is really hurting me. It means I'm not getting another on-field, midfield rookie score, and I have Flynn in this R2 instead. And I've missed a Rankin 128 and some additional points in defence by having a Pryor or a Perryman or something like that. So, yeah, that's how I think I'll line up this week. Let's talk captains. De Koning's another great option. I'm not sure if I'll go there myself, but he is a good option. All of Richards, Libba, and Dacos are good picks in this game, I think. I think Dawson's going to get attention here, so Isaac Rankin might be a good option for this game. Port Adelaide, I think Horn Francis and Rosie are both options. Saints v Geelong is interesting. So Windhager, you would think, is going to go to someone. Maybe they don't start it there, but he is going to go to someone. Last time they went to Stewart, but Baz and Holmes just went bananas. So I don't know where they go there. It's unlikely they go to Baz, I think, because he's not really damaging by foot typically. But I guess we'll see. I'm going to avoid Stewart and Baz, honestly, in this game anyway, just because I'm concerned about that tag. The best captains options this week are in this game, Brisbane v West Coast. So Neil, Dunkley, Zorko, if you have one of them, I'd be using your captain option there. Don't even have to worry about a vice captain then. I'm leaning towards this game at the moment for Petrarca. I think LDU and Sheezer will bounce back as well, so you could go there if you wanted to. I wouldn't advise Gawn or Cherry. I think they'll go okay, but there's a good chance they cancel each other out a bit. So yeah, I like Petrarca in this game. And then Sydney v Freo at Optus. Last time Jordan tagged Clark in the first half and Sarong in the second half, I believe. So Brayshaw's probably an option here, but I'm a little bit concerned given the Swans tagged last week, and last week Brayshaw got tagged, so I am concerned about that. But yeah, I think there's a lot of captain's options this week. None of them are like absolute smashes out of the parks unless you own one of these Brisbane guys. But like I could go Horn Francis as well. I think there's a 140 in him this week. I think the same for Petrarca though. So yeah, not sure how I will go there, but yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And I will see you guys this time next week, probably. Bye, guys.